Lily Christopherson has been missing since May 9th. Police believe that she was with 39-year-old registered sex offender Christopher Fitzpatrick, who was arrested Saturday night in Lakewood, but Lily was not found with him. So this morning, police are focusing their search along stretches of I-5 between Tacoma and Fife after reports of that was where she was last seen over the last few days. But as of right now, she remains missing and police need your help finding her. So Lily left her parents' home in Bonney Lake on May 9th and took a bus to Federal Way to an area that was known to be a frequent location for Fitzpatrick, according to police. A U.S. Marshal's warrant was out for his arrest after he violated his probation and failed to re-register as a sex offender. Now, police in Bonney Lake say Lily may be with another woman who could possibly be black or of dark complexion near the Tacoma and Fife areas. But after Fitzpatrick was arrested, Lily wasn't with him. Her mother, Lena Winters, is fearing the worst.
I was thinking something could be really bad could have happened to my baby. His record makes me think that something bad could have happened to her.
So take a good look at your screen here. This is Lily Christopherson. Again, she's only 15 years old, 5'2", with long brown hair and hazel eyes. She was last seen wearing a black midriff shirt with tan capri pants. Police say they also aren't sure if Lily is out here on her own free will, and they are asking anyone with any information to please contact 911.